Let's wait for it to load up. Alright. Hello and welcome to Final Fantasy XIV. The 5.5 patch has just dropped, and so we're going to be primarily going through the main story for tonight. I believe the story always starts in here, so let's go in here. Okay. Loading. I was hoping the fact I streamed so late at night would make the loading times a bit less annoying, but, well, I guess it makes sense everyone's trying to get the content done. We have the new storyline and also the new Nier Automata raid, so that's going to be fun. I'm not sure if we're going to... Oh, and the diamond weapon fight. I might have to do the other two next time, though, because the main story takes a while. Of course. In fact, that may be the entire stream content. We'll see. To the breach. Alice is waiting patiently for the return of Kappa the Scions, not certain Scions, not least of all you. Good news, Kota. Thancred and Urianger have finished their tour of Garlemald and are on the way back here even as we speak. As we still haven't heard anything from on the towers of the Alliance, I'm hoping they might be able to shed some light on things. They're due to arrive any moment now, so let's see what they have to say, huh? Quest began. Welcome party. You needn't have gone through trouble. From what I hear, you've been more than busy enough as it is. Yeah, last time we managed to find a cure for the tempering from primals, so that's pretty good progress, actually. Honestly, you might have waited for me to return before discovering a cure for tempering. As it is, I can't even pretend to have been involved. Well, if it's any consolation, I myself was little more than a spectator. Lion's share goes to Alice, Graha, and Kota. I believe I speak for all the rest of us when I say we're proud to have rendered what little assistance we could. As you will also have heard, though, it hasn't all been tales of triumph. Just as we were taking steps towards finally addressing the primal threat, a pile of fresh problems have landed into our lap. Anyway, it's good to have you back. Though I can't help noticing that we're one Urianger short of a scouting party. You haven't lost him, have you? Oh, I couldn't lose him if I tried, and I did try, repeatedly. But no, he decided to linger in Alamigo to apprise Ruban and the others of how the land lies in Garlemald. Then mayhap you could do the same for us. Indeed, it was just as Lise said. Worse, in fact, devastation as far as I could see. Nevra and Iliard, however, were notable in their absence. Might they have met their end at the hands of Zenos and Fandaniel? Perhaps, or simply they lost the will to fight. You see, Capital's been plunged with deathly silence with one exception, the Imperial Palace. It was a busy place before the war, but it's been growing busier still, and the throngs of soldiers and civilians working their day and night to rebuild, or rather, transform it. Transform it? Into what? That is a difficult question to answer. The construction's vast, unsettling to behold, something like a nightmare. According to Urianger, certain aspects of the dynamo were certainly devised with manipulation of ether in mind. Magitech, in other words. Yet unnerving as it was nothing next to the sight of its builders. They swarmed the place like so many insects, working nary a word exchanged between them. No one overseeing construction, no one barking orders. It's as if they were possessed. Or tempered. We wanted to investigate more closely, but given our suspicions, it seemed wiser not to take the risk. If Fandaniel could bind Bahamut to his will, might he have done the same with the people of Garlemald? Whatever the truth may be, this information is certain to prove valuable. You have our thanks. We'll be sure to save some for Urianger, which reminds me, I have a message from Alamigo. Ruban is hosting a meeting to discuss the latest findings of the towers, and he requests our presence. Then why not leave that to us? You must be weary from your mission. No, I'm fine. Those towers have been on my mind since I first spied one on the way back, and I'm quite keen to get to the bottom of this. In that case, I shall stay and begin looking to another matter, as I promised Kryl. We need not all attend. Very well, I suggest the rest of us make our way to Alamigo forthwith. The sooner we leave, the more time we have to speak with Urianger before the meeting. I do have a bit of concern that my gear might be a little behind, since I haven't been grinding the tomes here, since I've mostly been preparing to play with those guys in our weekly Warcraft stuff, but this game has always been very forgiving, if we're blunt. In fact, one could easily argue that it's always been way too easy, so it's not a big deal. But nonetheless, I do have money saved up. If I do have to, I'll drop a few million on upgrading my gear. Crafted gear is always reliable if you can't to grind. And if we're blunt, gil raw cash in this game doesn't actually have that much use if you're not a crafter, so it's pretty easy to save up. That's both a blessing and a curse, really. Still, it does at least mean you're rewarded for playing the game more than just buying and upgrading stuff. Rather than just buying upgrades with... Yeah, that was right the first time. Sorry. Let's get my Fenrir here. One thing I am kind of surprised that Warcraft never did was update their mounts to fly. After Final Fantasy XIV had the devs go, okay, we had a meeting and we decided, screw it, all mounts can now fly. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it is, we found a way to make it happen. Because I think this was in Stormblood, I think, or was it late Heavensward after they introduced flight? Yeah, there was a split between mounts that could fly and ones that couldn't, and I guess they decided to just take the easy way out. Not that I mind, I mean, mounts are always a cosmetic to begin with. Not to mention some of them are really rare. I mean, let's see here. Do I have any really rare mounts? I think these are all seasonals, if we're honest. Oh yeah, this is a rare one, Kieran. In order to get Kieran, you have to get the horse mounts from all the Realm Reborn primals. There's a Firebird you get for getting the birds from all the Heavensward primal fights. And wolves are the... Believe it or not, this monster's canine does not always glow, only achieving this heavenly affluence upon receiving blessing of Lakshmi, after being offered the Lady of Bliss by her Ananta dreamers. Yeah, basically each of these is a normal creature that was given a blessing from the matching primal. And they even play their respective theme. Actually, let's see here. Yeah, Lakshmi has got a pretty good theme here. If you get all the dogs from Stormblood, you get the nine-tailed fox as the mount, which of course makes it absolutely awesome. And... let's just continue the story here. Don't want to waste too much time. I don't even have too many impressive mounts, if we're honest. My friends, much more have I heard of your travails in our absence. Heartened am I to see you hale and whole. As are we to see you safely return for your mission, Urianger. I trust Thancred made you feel welcome. Oh well, there's Alphino and his merry band. Oh hey, it's him. Arenvald, whatever are you doing here? When we spoke via Link Pro, you told me you'd be away on a mission. And who'd say this isn't part of it? But enough about that, it's good to see you all looking so similar. I'd have thought you'd grown a bit taller after the whole year in the other world, but apparently not. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. While my soul may be a year older, my body has hardly aged, as you are well aware. And may I remind you that the Ewielazin are known to be late bloomers, especially in terms of our height. Mark my words, a day will come when even a great... such as yourself will crane your neck to meet my eye. Aye, 'twas not my 20th summer that I myself outgrew my boyish proportions, though Mombrita towered over me nonetheless. Arenvald brings out the best in Alphino, doesn't he? They both seem at ease in each other's company. It's almost endearing. I hope we see more of him in Endwalker. Well, some of the latecomers to the Scions, I kind of wish we'd get some more characterization for, but I imagine they're going to bring back everyone together. Or since Endwalker is going to be the big endgame for this particular storyline. So what exactly brings you here? Oh, $4 mostly. We need to go over a few things before we set out. Set out? Wait, does that have something to do with the towers? Anyone give you that impression? Actually, tell me later. You got a meeting to go to. I'll see you afterwards, alright? I guess they didn't want to talk too much about that. If Fordola's going with him, that must mean... My apologies. As Aaron Vold rightly pointed out, we have a meeting to attend. Let's be about it. I believe Aaron Vold is a chosen one, just like the player character. For anyone not familiar, Final Fantasy XIV does technically have a chosen one plot, but it's both special. Your character is both special and not special because there are other chosen ones. They make it clear that there's chosen many, rather, and even some of the NPCs you meet are also chosen just like you. Your character is mostly special because you just happen to be the one of the ones who are managed to defeat all these big threats. But yeah, it is a definitely chosen one. It's just a bit more complicated than that. Because it wouldn't be a JRPG without some convolutedness, right? Here we are.
Ere we begin, I would like to offer my gratitude to Masters Thancred and Urianger. Tis no small feat to infiltrate the Imperial capital and live to tell the tale, much less in times of civil war. Thanks to them, we may plot our course in full knowledge of how the winds blow in Garlemald.
Mirror is definitely a character I've liked since early on, and well, let's just say I appreciate her more now that I saw the Warcraft storyline that tried to be the Limsa storyline and was awful. You do you, Merloweb. You're way better than the Proudmoore Admiralty.
Full glad are we to have been
I'm being mean. Sorry.
But verily, such dangers as we did encounter pale into insignificance next to those faced by our comrades. An Ascian, armed with the might of Bahamut, bent on bringing about the final days.
Yeah, Lunar creating a primal orb entirely on his own. I guess it's always possible. I mean, even though he's a Sundered Ascian, the whole point is they have the ability to create things out of seemingly nothingness. He should start even as a fragment.
He sought only to make a show of the power at the Telophoroid's disposal. But since then we have seen no sign of this Fandaniel or his worm. And while we've done what we can to bolster our defenses, there's no telling where he might strike next.
And if he can even cause it to use the tempering, the brainwashing to force other people under its control.
We must use the intervening time to learn more of our enemy.
I will admit, my concern is, well, I guess we'll have to see what he's planning exactly. I mean,
'twas with this in mind that we dispatched scouts to investigate the towers.
Alright, the strange towers that appeared.
Our advance party took longer than expected to return. And when they did, they tried to kill us.
In other words, they were tempered, brainwashed.
Luckily, I'd seen that sort of thing before, and we were able to restrain them before they did any harm. Then it was just a matter of letting the Porksies do their work.
Seems we discovered the cure for this brainwashing effect in just the nick of time.
Are you saying they were tempered?
Once they'd come back to their senses, they told us everything they could. It seems that just as they were getting close to the tower, they heard an ear-splitting roar. And that was the last thing they remembered.
So most likely, Lunar Bahamut was indeed the one that brainwashed them.
But what worries me most is what they were saying right before they attacked. Glory be to Garlemald.
Interesting. So the heart of Lunar Bahamut's creation was to be loyal to Garlemald.
The Tempered have heretofore ever been thralls to primal entities. Yet these hapless souls were compelled to accept a nation as the object of their devotion. This calleth into question all that we know of the condition.
So, in other words, it redirects how the person's brainwaves work entirely. Because it wasn't Lunar Bahamut they worshipped.
The unsettling news ended there. Alas, there is more. Following the earlier reports of missing Amalja, we have learnt that other beast tribes have suffered similar losses. And we now have reason to believe that the abductions are connected to the appearance of the towers.
Are they going to make lunar versions of the others?
Our scouts sighted black-garbed figures leading shackled Ixal in the direction of the tower in Dravania. The Temple Knights were able to intercept them before they could reach their destination, liberating the Ixal and apprehending their captors, each of whom was found to be equipped with Garlean arms and armor.
This might actually be a reference to the original storyline in A Realm Reborn. For anyone who hasn't played or doesn't know, basically, the way primals are summoned is a catalyst, a source of energy, like usually crystals, and strong faith in something or other. It doesn't necessarily have to be a god, but that's usually how the beast tribes do it, and that's how they come into creation. It was also discovered that any catalyst and source of energy, and any source of energy works. So, in other words, they were able to perform blood sacrifices, and that would work because in the Final Fantasy XIV universe, basically everything is composed of ether. Crystals are just the easiest source of it, but a person's body consists of it as well, so killing them to use their body's energy, that actually would make quite a powerful battery for strengthening them.
So, the Empire is the common thread.
With the support of Xenos, it seems likely that Fandaniel has rallied a faction of the splintered Garlean army to the banner of the Telophoroi.
Lord Hien reached the same conclusion when I shared our findings with Doma. The plan had been to march on Garlemald from the east and west in order to force a peace treaty. But the situation has changed. Dealing with the threat of the towers must come first.
Yeah, catching Garlemald in a pincer maneuver would pretty much force them to give in, but it seems that's no longer an option if they're going to be performing blood sacrifices like that.
Given the nature of the enemy and the proven risk of tempering, I could think of few suitable candidates to aid in this task. But I am confident in my choice.
That's why he needed Fordola so much. She actually wasn't chosen to give him the Echo Power, but she has an artificial version that Xenos created. That's why he wanted us to get to the meeting so badly, because we needed to meet him.
Resistant to primal influence as they are, they can investigate the towers without fear of being turned.
For anyone who didn't play Stormblood, Fordola here was actually one of the antagonists for there. She was loyal to the Garlean cause, and wanted to make their nation actually part of Garlemald, since there was a lot of racism towards them. However, when we took it back, they got into conflict, because you have to remember, the Alamigo was under Garlean control for over 10 years. There were probably some no, it wasn't even 10 years, it was way more than that. Wasn't it more like 20? Oh yeah. Either way, it was long enough that basically an entire generation grew up only knowing Garlean control, and for them, some felt that it was a lot better or under Garlean control, and Fordola was one of them. However, they couldn't. After capturing her and finding out she had an artificial chosen one blessing, which, as mentioned, protects you from the brainwashing effect, they pretty much had no choice but to conscript her. So it's pretty much entirely,
We are glad to put our gifts to use, Commander.
Arnvald here is a chosen one just like the player character, so he has the same
Gifted
blessing
or
we
not,
do.
Going behind enemy lines remains a perilous undertaking. But we must know more if we're to strike back at our foe. I'm counting on you.
If it would give us the upper hand, I'd do it 100 times over. We won't let you down.
Fordola has slowly been learning the error of her ways, but she's definitely gonna be tsundere for us for for the foreseeable future for now.
That concludes the briefing. You two, make ready and join your escort.
I guess it's more accurate to say that we're both stuck with each other, though, because chosen ones aren't very common, but obviously these brainwashing effects are, especially now that Fandaniel's starting to abuse them. So, we need her, and she needs us, because, well, the alternative is to rot in prison, and so we're stuck with each other, I guess you could say.
Are you certain about this, Arenvold?
I am. Come on, let's talk outside.
Yeah, Arenvold's definitely one of the characters I want to see show up more in the expansion, but, well, I don't know if that's going to be the case, given we're going to have all the Scions on deck for the final storyline, and of course he could always die before then. Not all characters have made it through the storyline already. I mean, Moan Breda, the character Urianger mentioned, she unfortunately met her end a while ago. I wish she was in the story longer. That would have made her sacrifice a lot more impactful, but... Well, I guess that was also during the Realm Reborn storyline, and they were pretty much having to write the story as it came to them. That's why the patch cycle from level 50, after you defeat the final boss of Realm Reborn, the Ultima Weapon, and then for a little while afterwards, the story was basically filler. Ooh, that was famously a place where many quit, because that was a whole lot of nothing going on. Luckily, they have since learned from that mistake, and it's never had it been again. Although, granted, they never had to fly by the seat of their pants again. And in Shadowbringers, a couple patches ago, they did shorten it, so that did help, hopefully. What's Fordola have to say? It's small talker after, look elsewhere. Yeah, she's definitely tsundere for us. I accept that numbers can prove hindrance when infiltrating territory, but only 2? Well, if we're going with the stealth mission, we don't really have a choice, unfortunately. Now that's out in the open, I have to keep it on my proverbial hat. I don't have to keep it on my proverbial hat anymore. Arnveld, I do hope you survive and we get to see you into Endwalker, but... Well, Death Unto Dawn is the very name of this patch.
I've already gone through all the formalities at the Rising Stones. Made sure to inform Jamolver and Vamar at Ralga's Reach as well.
Arenvold, I admire your enthusiasm, but this is far more dangerous than anything you have done before.
Yeah, he's not an adventurer like the player character. Also, he's not controlled by a player, so this is definitely
I know the risks. And I also know what's in store if we don't stop Fandaniel from carrying out his plan. With this power of mine, I can make a difference. If I stood idly by, I would regret it for the rest of my life.
I guess in trying to reverse, I should go more,
Is this what you want?
for the more of the Irish sounding thing.
What are you asking me for? It's not like I have any say in the matter.
Unfortunately, she is, kind of correct. I mean, it's either help us out or rot in prison. So, it's not like she has a choice, but it's also not like we have any choice because protection from the brainwashing is still too few and far between.
Don't pretend. We both know Commander Aldin gave you a chance to refuse. And you didn't.
See? Tsundere. Tsundere Fordola.
So the Empire's finished, is it? But that's what they're all saying. that the great and glorious Garlemald slit its own throat.
Remember, she did unironically like the Empire at one point.
And now, from out of its twitching carcass crawls the Telophoroi with bloody Xenos at its head! I fought for Garlemald. Killed for Garlemald. What was I part of? I need to know.
Yeah, like I said, she's slowly coming around, but it's definitely a lot going on.
Very well. If your hearts are set on this, I shall not stand in your way.
A fist bump. I really hope this isn't a death flag. Well, then again, there was a lot of death flags for Graha, and he survived.
I have a question. Which tower are you planning to investigate, exactly?
Well, the one in Girabani is said to be tightly guarded. It's patrol after patrol out there, apparently. We'd be spotted before we got anywhere near it.
Well, my character has been established at being terrible at stealth, but good at knocking over walls no matter how big and thick they are, so that might be good for us.
Which is why we've set our sights on the one in Pagalthan instead. There shouldn't be anything like as many Imperials to worry about down there.
Even so, I doubt the local Amalja will look kindly on it if they catch you sneaking around in their territory.
Fordola and I had a chance to learn the lie of the land in our previous forays there. We might still find trouble, but at least we won't lose our way.
Alright, as long as you know the layout, so that's pretty important. Should reduce the chance of getting cornered as well, so they know where not to go.
Well, we'd best not keep them waiting any longer.
Mayhap when all of this is over, we could take another trip to Loxeld. I would have you know I've become a rather capable swimmer since our last visit.
Ha! I'll believe that when I see it. Though, to be fair, getting into deep water does seem to be a scion's lot in life. Take care, Ray.
Running meme during Stormblood was that Alphino cannot swim. By that I mean it was an in-universe thing. His sister teased him over it, and I guess they decided to do that because that expansion introduced swimming into the game.
It means a lot, you know. You coming with me.
I'll still owe you for saving my skin, don't I? Can't return the favour if I'm not there.
I dare say you'll get your chance before long. That Fandaniel sounds like a tricky customer. Too much for the likes of me, anyway. But we both know I'd just be another soldier if it weren't for my gift. And I need to be a damn sight more than that given what's coming. I realise I can't hold a candle to a hero like the Warrior of Light, or Alphino, for that matter. He might look like he's 12, but he's seen more action than most people see in a lifetime. No, the fact is I'm nothing like them, and maybe I never will be. But I'll be damned if I don't try. They're counting on me. On us. So let's give it our all.
I really do like a lot of the characters in this game.
He does not want for conviction, that much is certain. So let us have faith in him. Him and Fordola both. While they see to the towers, I would attend to another task. Chasing down this lunar Bahamut.
I suppose not a Final Fantasy game without recolored versions of the summoned spirits that we have to fight as super bosses. Though I guess in this game, anything higher than normal difficulty counts as a super boss, since they're mostly optional.
Can you hear me? It's Tataru! I'm happy to say we've managed to find Estinian.
Good. Estinian's basically been a member of the Scions since Heaven's Ward. He just kind of comes and goes as he pleases. I guess you could call him the edgy 6th Ranger. of sorts.
And I'm sorry to say, he went running off again the moment we told him about Bahamut.
Darn him and his a kink for slaying dragons.
But
He's basically like Freya from having
something about heading to Ishgard, so if you're quick, you might still be able to catch him.
Then again, I guess Amuro was the more edgy teammate in that one. Alright, let's let everyone know where he's headed.
Even if we set out this instant, he may already have left by the time we arrive. Have her send the Bonanza to Ishgard. It may prove useful should we need to give chase.
Alright, let's go ahead and tell him.
Gladly. I'll see to it as soon as Kryl and I get back to the Rising Stones. Good luck.
While you go off on your dragoon hunt, Urianger and I will return to headquarters. We have much to tell the others.
I wish you every success in your search for our elusive friend. May we all meet again ere long.
Sounds good to me. Here we are. Oh dang, that was the first quest. Only the first quest, wasn't it? So Estinian was bound for Ishgard. Whatever it is that brings him to his home, we must hope it will keep him there long enough for us to find him. Come, there's no time to lose. Oh darn, I didn't see Graha there, or I would have spoken with him. It's kind of funny how many characters have unique dialogue that only play when you're, like, in the middle of a step with a story like this. Here he is. No one's here, really? Huh. I've only visited Ishgard once before, after the devastation of the 8th Umbral Calamity. To see this place in its all its original glory is a tantalizing aspect indeed. Assuming we find him, this will be my first encounter with the famous Estinian, and if he's half the man Alpha No claims, I fully expect to go weak at the knees. I have to do a bit of fainting while I'm at it. She is basically... Yeah, poking fun at him. All present? Good. Let us split up and search for Estinian, since we're all relatively new. Graha and I will look around the open spaces, the squares, markets. You and Kota, the concretes. Very well, let us reconvene at the airship landing later, with or without Estinian. Good luck. Shall I begin at the... I think I shall begin at Sky Steel Manufactory. Perhaps you could try the congregation. Lucia may have heard of our friend's return. That's true. What's this now? One-stop shop every gear, help item, exchange, Ralligan tomes together, single spot. Okay, that's from the Alexander raid. I guess they decided to place more of those merchants around because you interact with them on a moderately regular basis. From Albert. Lucy, here we are. Handelo. I do not remember Handelo. Day by day, the people strive to restore Ishgard to its former glory, yet the Talafori They would seek to undo all we've achieved and threaten not only our fair city, but the entire world. As ever, we Templar Knights are ready to fight to the last. Good evening to you, War of Light. Lord Almark sent word he would be attending a meeting in Alamigo, so I gather you've not come in search of him. What do we owe the pleasure of your visit? I see. No, we are not aware that Sir Stinian has returned, but as I expect you remember, he is wont to come and go as he pleases. Mayhap he came to seek an audience with Lord Amaric, only to find him absent. In any event, I'm afraid I cannot help you. Perhaps one of your companions has fared better. Yeah, but Stinian's the kind of guy who shows up whenever something starts getting nasty, helps out, and then vanishes. And which is kind of fitting, since basically how the some of the 6th Rangers who's in Sentai have worked. And, huh. The Holy Sea of Ishgard. I'm using the relic right now, but it's only a past item level 500, so unfortunately my relic weapon's a bit behind. I'll probably be upgrading it with a diamond weapon or whatever. Diamond weapons drops or something like that. Oh, I don't have to pay the ticketer for this. Yeah, I wasn't getting when I said my gear was a little behind. Although, to be fair, the reason I can't upgrade my my weapon any further like this is because it requires the instance area, the Boz Jan story to be complete, and for some reason my machine can't handle that area. Even when I'm not streaming, which, not gonna lie, that's a little frustrating, but I do intend to get an upgrade later this year, so that should fix everything. Cutscene time.
No sign of him. Not that I've ever met him before, but the way Alphino goes on about him, I'm fairly sure I could pick him out in a crowd.
Speaking of which, it does seem awfully quiet. If the erstwhile Azure Dragoon had returned to Ishgard, would it not be a source of general excitement?
First the Scion's Coinkeeper, and now you. I'm beginning to think these meetings are more than mere coincidence. Not that I'm complaining. It's been too long.
Too long?
You look an ilm taller and twice as rugged. It suits you, Alphino.
Mixed him. Oh.
Quieter, though. Have you been giving him lessons on how to be the strong, silent type?
That's gonna piss her off.
I am not Alphino!
Alright, Alice wasn't part of the Heaven's Ward storyline, so she didn't meet him then.
If the two of you are such firm friends, perhaps you should remember what he looks like. And what do you mean, rugged? Ugh! Had my brother mentioned what an oaf you are, I'd never have bothered looking for you in the first place.
Estinian Wormblood, the Azure Dragoon. He who fought and felled the dread worm Nidhogg at the Warrior of Light's side.
Well, there are a few more details than that, but yeah, pretty much.
To think the day will come when I should see this living legend with my own eyes.
Oh yeah, Grahal's always been a fanboy of the heroes.
Would someone mind explaining what is going on?
Is everything all right? I thought I heard Alize shouting. Estinian! It's been too long.
Well, at least Alphino could do that, which is good, because we don't talk very much.
No, it's quite understandable. That was hardly the first time we've been confused for one another. Nor, I suspect, will it be the last.
It has indeed been a running joke since the very start of the game.
Well, I, for one, will not be making that mistake again. What I will say, for the second time today, is that you've grown. Inside and out. I can tell.
One can't remain a spoiled little lordling forever, you know.
Hard to believe there's a time Alphino couldn't even gather
At least
firewood
someone's
correctly.
having a good time.
No, seriously, somehow found a way to fail at gathering firewood. It was hilarious.
You know, when we were growing up, Alphino would never befriend other boys because he couldn't stand the thought of not being in charge. But maybe that's changed. He seems just as happy around Estinian as he does Arenvald.
I think he's learned to talk with people rather than at them.
I wouldn't be so sure. He still loves nothing better than the sound of his own voice.
Well, those aren't mutually exclusive, you know.
No rest for the righteous, eh? Speaking of which, I was just on my way to borrow an airship to take me to Azis La.
Azis La? How could I forget? The dragon with whom Bahamut shared the deepest of bonds.
The original Bahamut's wife.
Aye, Tiamat, his mate. Even now she remains imprisoned on Azis La, though her remorse binds her faster than any shackle.
Yeah, her imprisonment there is entirely of her own will. She could probably break out at any time. She just feels guilty because she attempted the primal summoning. But the Bahamut was not the same one that died. Primal summonings are simply creations of new beings based on the summoner's memories or desires.
I see. As the one who first summoned Bahamut, you believe she may be able to shine some light on his latest incarnation.
Might I suggest that we make the journey to Azisla together? I'm not sure if Tataru mentioned this, but we Scions have an airship of our own now.
I see no reason why not. Assuming your sister can bear the thought of sharing the deck with me.
Be my guest. But confuse me with Alphino again and I'll throw you overboard. Ugh! I don't know who he thinks he is, but he's nothing like Alphino painted him to be.
I will admit, he is not exactly as I imagined him either. Based on what I had read of the man, I think I was expecting someone a little less blunt.
Well, to be fair, he did remove that tree that was stuck up his rear end during the Heavensward storyline. And even during that conversation, you can really tell his character's changed since then. So this is the Delta Quadrant, where countless dragons lie imprisoned, the great Tiamat among them. Not to complain, I didn't expect to find myself here again quite so soon. Time has summoned Bahamut once before, she may have again, willingly or no. That's right. It has been quite some time since I last set foot in Azizla, but I understand the three of you were here a bit more recently. I don't suppose you chanced to have met Tiamat during your visit? Alas, not. We had no cause to set foot here in the Delta Quadrant, but I have studied the relevant records, which is not to say I wouldn't appreciate a first-hand account of your dealings with her. Well then, courteous person to ask. As far as I know, he's the only one I've met her face to face. As I say, Help Midgard Sormir was there to introduce me. Ah, yes, you're a friend of her father. I too have met with Tiamat. After the Dragonsong War came to a close, I came here to speak with her. A woman who had fought her own war against man in another age. I wished to know if she yet harbored vengeance, and asked as much. She said no. She'd learned to let go of her hate. My hatred for your kind was extinguished long ago. The guilt she feels for resurrecting Bahamut burns on undimmed. It torments her even now. I see. The original reason of coming here was out of concern that she had been forced to summon Bahamut. Nidhogg is part of me. I feel his emotions as my own. I know that he would not allow his sister to be made a tool of evil. In his absence, it falls to me to watch over her. True, Nidhogg may have completely given into his hatred in the end, but that doesn't change. He still had family. Pizza. A simple but satisfying dish of thinly worked dough topped with tomatoes and cheese, baked in a wood-fire oven until crispy. Using mixed spinach quiche. Using choice ingredients such as mixed spinach and mozzarella, this variation of spinach quiche satisfies even the fussiest gourmand. Twilight potato salad. Shredded Twilight apples gave this potato salad a crunchy texture and fruity tang. Let's go with a pizza. And when we do the dungeon restaurant, I'm going to be using food buffs the whole time because my gear's a little behind. I'm going to have to make up for it with food bonuses. The Azure Dragoons of history were the mortal enemies of dragons, yet now they would be hard-pressed to find a soul who understood them better. Our grandfather sacrificed everything to protect the realm from Bahamut. We must be prepared to do the same. It was Ascians who taught Tiamat the secrets of summoning, even as they supplied the Allagans with the mean to capture primals. So much suffering and all of it by design. That's right. Tiamat feels bad because she summoned Bahamut, but Bahamut was summoned so the Allagans could capture it and turn it into a tool, which is what led to the Realm Reborn storyline. The original game was originally going to have a sort of expansion where we go to that moon and end up discovering Bahamut was in it the entire time, but part of me does admittedly want to wonder what the original 1.0 storyline direction would have taken. Unfortunately, Square Enix kind of forced them to rush the whole thing. You know, they were even the devs knew it was not ready yet, and even asked a lot of the reviewers to be kind to it. Spoiler, they weren't, and probably for good reason, if we're completely honest. And then threw the current crew under the bus, and then Yoshi P and those took over. It's kind of a sad story in a way. Don't get me wrong, the original team had about 5 years to make the 1.0, and it was pretty poorly optimized in the general sense, so it's not that they didn't make mistakes of their own. It wasn't just the suits, but at the top, but I guess it's too much. I guess I can't always be thinking about what could have happened. Tiamat awaits this way. Do 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 do. When the Allagans captured Tiamat and the dragons, they basically kept them to keep him alive, basically. Since faith and is part of what keeps them their form and allows them to revive. Hence why I'm wondering if perhaps this is why she allows herself to be captured here, and why I wonder if she might actually be powerful enough to break free at any time. She just refuses to allow it. Oh, here we are. Forgot I could do that. Resigned to her fate she may be, I cannot help but feel we may be able to help, would she only let us. So this is one of the 7 great worms. Even thus combined, her presence is overwhelming. To think that man is responsible for all this, and so much else the dragonkind has suffered. My sire's mortal companion, what bringeth thee back to this forsaken place, child of man?
It's plain she knows naught of recent events. Perhaps you should enlighten her.
And so we explain the situation. How Fandaniel created his own corrupted lunar Bahamut. That my sins would be repeated. I sense not the faintest stirring. And to who could have called him forth? I know of none save the dragons of Mercidia, our children. Interesting, did Fandaniel just create a new Bahamut based on what he thought rather than anything? The Aegon claimed their souls when he first manifested, and robbed of their will, they became tools of the Algon's dark designs.
I've seen it with my own eyes. Captives of a lost empire, neither alive nor dead, existing only to preserve Bahamut's corporeal form.
Yes, the dragons of Mercidia are at the mercy of this Ascian. There could be no other explanation. Accursed Ascians, vile minions of darkness. Again, you would profane the memory of my beloved and strip our children of their freedom, their dignity. Are there no depths to which you would not stoop?
Your children's pain means nothing to them. They laugh at your kind suffering.
Possibly quite literally, we know Fandaniel loves to laugh at people's pain,
But tears
even his
will not
other
right
Ascians.
this wrong, nor will lamentation see the perpetrators punished.
What wouldst thou have from me, Slayer of Dragons?
Behavior befitting a great worm. We came here to ask mighty Tiamat of the First Brood, consort of Bahamut, mother of the dragons of Mercidia, what she intends to do about the crimes committed against her children.
He's being pretty bold by age, but careful. I knew that would piss her off, but maybe a dragon's wrath is what we need. Were I free, I would answer thine insolence with fire, but words shall have to suffice. Recall, mortals, that it was I who did first summon my beloved, praying with all my being to bring him forth. You who contend with Aecons cannot well be ignorant of the consequence.
You too were exposed to his influence. That you are yet in possession of your own will is testament to the indomitable strength of your soul.
That's right, she didn't get brainwashed.
But were you to meet with Bahamut again, you fear you might succumb.
Indeed. Ask the Dragon Slayer, and he will tell thee well. Tell thee the power we of the First Brood wield. Were I to lose myself to the Aecon's influence, all would pay the price. But 'tis of little matter. or even had I the strength to resist, I yet lack the strength to break my shackles. This prison shall be my tomb. And what if we were to break those shackles?
On the matter of Bahamut's influence, at least, I believe we can be of some assistance.
That's right, we have the cure for tempering
If
now.
you're afraid of being enthralled, don't be. We have a cure. And while we've never tried it on one such as you, its basic principles are universal.
Speakest thou in earnest? Yeah, developing this cure was an absolute game changer.
There is no future for those bound to the past. That you committed a terrible sin, I do not dispute. But if you feel remorse, you may yet make amends. We offer you that chance. Take it, or you will forever remain a prisoner, not of these cruel shackles, but of your own guilt.
A chance to make amends, to lay Bahamut's memory to rest. When our own star faced annihilation, Hydaelyn granted us sanctuary, and now your foes bring about her destruction. This I cannot allow, the debt I owe to Hydaelyn. And to all who have suffered for my sins, I shall fight with you, children of man. It won't make up for what she's suffered at the hands of men, but there's something we can do to free her, and I mean truly free her. We owe it to her to try. Yeah, I mean, it's probably not going to be hard to break these bounds, but we need to free her from her pain, from her guilt more than anything. I confess my heart was in my throat when Estinian thought to berate her, but it appears to have the desired effect. It would seem she still has some pride after all. Let's see if she's good as her word. While Porxies have been shown to be effective in curing the tempered, Tiamat must be considered a special case. She's far larger and immeasurably more powerful than any subject treated so far. Were we to remove her restraints only to find the process had failed, we would be hard-pressed to contain her. Then, before going ahead, we should learn as much as we can about the exact nature of her condition. You suppose we can find that information here? Why, yes we can indeed. The Algans kept detailed records on all their notable captives, and I know precisely where to look. The Crystal Tower had information like that, and he had over 100 years to read them. We shall leave that to you then. In the meantime, the rest of us can turn our thoughts to removal of these shackles. I know Alphino and Code here well enough, but not you. Are you certainly ready to see this through? Rest assured, Sir Estinian, that I am both ready and willing to give my all for the sake of the star, and that is not my only reason for wanting to set Tiamat free. While I do not claim to know all of her sorrows, I too once found myself in a dream of despair, and I well understand how hard it is to dare to dream of escape. It took the encouragement of braver souls than I to take me the first step towards a brighter future, and now I would help Tiamat do the same. I gather you're not as young as you look. Mayhap when our work is done here, we could trade tales over a pot of Tataru's famous tea. I would be indebted to her for the leaves and hot water. I think not. I see. Return to the task at hand, then. I believe the nodes governing Tiamat's restraints are located in the sector known as Flagship. Ah, yes, we're familiar with it. The Ethereal Research Chemical Research Facility in particular. Oh, and you may wish to take this. A spirit vessel containing a small amount of my blood. Right, because he has the royal blood that's required to run it. Which you just happen to be carrying around with you? I suppose that I suppose that could seem rather odd. To explain, Rambros, Uriange, and I were researching the use of spirit vessels in the transference of not only memories, but also the traits of certain bloodlines. So I keep one at the ready should the opportunity to test our theories arrive. As for its use to you, you may recall that during our previous visit, the nodes here granted access to restricted functions, having identified me as being of royal blood. And armed with that spirit vessel, I posit they will do the same for you, even in the absence of, well, the rest of me. Seemed worth a try, at least. Agreed, we shall take good care of it. The flagship, then. Yeah, the first dragons like Tiamat are absolutely insanely powerful. I mean, her father, Midgard Sormir, he sacrificed himself to blow up one of the Gorlian ships that was attacking the area around the lake he was protecting, and apparently he decided to sacrifice himself for it, but it turns out he was so powerful, death is basically just a mild inconvenience for him. Basically just ends up napping for hundreds or thousands of years as he recovers. Unfortunately, he sacrificed himself to save us in the Omega storyline, so while we were able to defeat Omega once and for all, well, thanks to him, it means he's pretty much gone as far as the rest of the storyline is. He's back to sleeping as he recovers from his quote-unquote death. I would rather leave these elegant contraptions to you and Alphino. Let's split up and search the flagship for the node that controls Tiamat's restraints. But should you find a likely candidate, do not be tempted to make any adjustments. It would not do to accidentally release some manner of experimental monstrosity, nor less Tiamat herself in her current state. Our objective at this stage is simply to identify the relevant node or nodes. Once we've learned what we can, we should reconvene and compare notes prior to proceeding. Once we've learned what we can, we should... Due to the sheer power creep of the fact that it's the end of Endwalker, none of these things are remotely threatening, although some of them are pretty cool. Yeah, the Allegan stuff and the Tron lines I always thought were a pretty neat aesthetic. Observus node. Data link with Delta Quadrant broken. Possible cause, intruder interference. Advise deployment of auto combat units. Proceed. Doesn't look like it. Malodorous node. Friction between metallic components detected. Temperature increasing critical levels. Please replace damaged parts or retreat to a safe distance. Oh, Estinian's here. Sadly, you can't talk to someone in this game while still mounted. It'll dismount you. These nodes, or whatever you call them, why is they quiver so? Ah, here's the last one. Clamorous node. Blip bloop warning. Scheduled dragon restraint maintenance due in negative 20 years. Failure to verify system integrity may result in unscheduled specimen release. I'm afraid Istine and I have little show for efforts. Did you find anything? This node was stirring like burned hair. Activate mechanical sentries. warned me about neglecting the dragon restraints. I found a way to activate the mechanical sentries if that's any help. Activate mechanical sentries. Only if they're willing to lead us to the node we seek, which I somehow doubt. From what I call, the node you found could facilitate communications with Zizla, so we may find a use for it. I know this sounds like burned air. I know the one. Though I thought the stench was more akin to a fire in a manure shed, it seemed likelier to explode than grant our wish. Surely there must be another. Explode and then grant our wish. Infernal things. One of them meant a swarm of mechanical vilekin to plague me. I must have angered it. Spontaneous, you say? Well, that does sound promising. Almost suspiciously so, in fact. Then you were in possession of the spirit vessel. I dare say it's indeed the node of which Grahal spoke. And it was chirrupting, you say? Very well, let's take a closer look. I guess that was all the specific. Do you wish to operate dragon restraint mechanisms? Bloop bloop. You do not have requisite access privileges. Operation of the dragon restraints may only be undertaken by the chief technologist and members of the royal family. Or those with a vessel full of royal blood, perhaps. Field trial. One never knows when a small portion of royal Allegan blood might come in handy, which is why Grahatia keeps this on his person. New user detected. Commencing biometric authentication. Authentication complete. User identified as member of royal family. Please state your name. Sure, I'll use my own name here. Welcome, Gotablo. You may now operate dragon restraint mechanisms when ready. Bloop error, unable to disengage restraints. A system update is required. Oh, bloody. A system update? What do you suppose it's asking of us? Well, I could hazard a guess. Well, it's more than I could say, contemplating. Damn, this is probably going to take 2 to 3 hours. User agitation detected. Initiating guidance. In order to operate the restraint mechanism, I require access to central control system. However, I'm unable to establish a link to said system due to obsolescence of my own software. This issue can be resolved by applying a system update using the corresponding terminal within the flagship. So, can this thing release the restraints or not? It can, but only after it's received the system update, as far as I can tell. Well, even if you don't know what a system is, you should know update means, well... Until which time it'll float there spewing nonsense. User dissatisfaction, initiating application protocols. I am here to help. Rest assured I will be at hand to guide you every step of the system update process. How gratifying. Better dare say we will fare better with guidance than without it. Yeah, I think my character would be able to at least figure out that update means, well, update. Even with the pseudo-medieval situation here, updates are still a thing, even if not in the mechanical sense. For vengeance, the restraint node stands poised to lend a hand, figuratively speaking. Beep boop, guiding user terminal. This way, please. Dungeon. Yeah, that's the ethereal chemical facility. I think this is it, judging by the fact that there's a bunch of people here. This terminal appears to be the one we encountered when we first set foot here. Let's hope it is equally helpful. Don't look at me. This is a task for you and Alphino. Bloop bloop. Access granted, and is that doesn't... Battles them, companion, Master Blue's other companions deemed potential risk to safe operations been denied access until further notice. Let's see, according to the terminal, the disk software version 56.135, the IASC version which you are employing. Software version 42.002. Bleep bleep warning. Errors detected in management system. Estimated time for update 5 years 1 day. Damn it, I knew this was gonna happen. That is rather long when we were hoping. Are there any other options? For example, using this terminal. The proposed method is indeed an option. Please be warned, however, the procedure may have changed as a result of a system update. My instructions may no longer be accurate. Well, I can't imagine it'll change that much, as long as we pay due through attention to any discrepancies. I dare say we should be able to muddle our way through. Don't bother trying to explain, just tell me if we made any progress. I would say so, yes. It does, however, require that I remain here to operate the terminal. I should inform you via link pearl once I'm ready to release the shackles. It might be best if you left the spear vessel with me. I may have yet have a use for it. Rest assured I will return to Grahatia once this is over. Just a little more work and Tiamat will be free. Before we go any further, there's something I would know. When Tiamat and our kin fought against the Allagans, both sides were but dancing to the tune of the Ascians. And it was the same in Ishgard, where they first stoked the fires of conflict between man and dragon from the shadows. All that the Ascians touched learned to ash unless you've made it your mission to fight them. 11 times you've tried to reach out to them, to reach common ground. Yes, we did try to work things out with, our buddy Emmett to the best of our ability, but that's all I has to ask. What do you intend to do with Fandaniel? Will you try to reach out to him too? Oh, after that fails, I'll remember him. Both these feel a lot better to the character. I'll certainly try, yes, and if that fails, I'll remember him. I see a little point in reasoning, or remembering him for that matter. Or perhaps that's the difference between you and me. You see the good in people, even if it be but the faintest glimmer. I only hope you do not come to rue your benevolence. You think us unwise, viewing the worldless? Far from it. That has ever been your way, as I learned when we journeyed together with Lady Iceheart. Yet the fact remains that there are some of you compassion's weakness to be exploited, and there may come a time when you extend the hand of friendship only to wish you had dealt the killing blow. So, save your mercy for those who deserve it, is what I'm saying. Stinian does have a pretty good point, I will admit. Well, we should be getting back to our task. If Alpha has things in hand here, I will suggest we rejoin the others. Bloop bloop warning, releasing may result in specimen loss, damage to facilities, and incineration of staff. Incineration. Don't worry, I don't think there's any staff left to incinerate. I cannot deny the logic in Estinian's argument. Given all that's at stake, even the slightest lapse in judgment could be the undoing of us all. Well, yeah, that is unfortunately a very strong point he makes. Unfortunately, reaching out the hand of mercy did not do much with Emmett, and it would not is unlikely to work with Fandaniel, but we'll see how it goes. Ah, perfect. So the spirit vessel proved useful after all? Excellent. If this Vandalian truly is, without reason or creed, then he's no better than a rabid dog. Treat him if you must, but be ready to do what is necessary. Unfortunately, I have the feeling that it's probably going to be necessary, but we'll see how it goes. Estinian told me all's well, but nothing more. Honestly, it's like getting blood out of a stone with him. I take it from Alphino's absence, he's needed elsewhere. Yeah, basically we found what we needed, and he should be releasing the restraints. Well, all that sounds rather frustrating, but you got there in the end. While you were off talking to nodes, Graha and I were learning as much as we could about Tiamat's condition. Our readings confirm that our ethereal balance leans strongly towards the umbral, as is the case of the kobolds. Therefore, all other things being equal, the treatment should work. The difficulty lies in the sheer quantity in which we must contend. Multiple applications may be inevitably required if we are to reverse the effects of the tempering completely. Meaning I'll need all the ether charge I can get. Thank you in advance. Though this endeavor will ask much of us, we do have one reason to be optimistic. Namely, that Tiamat shows no signs of fanatical devotion, suggesting a milder case than that with the kobolds. Tiamat saw Bahamut as an equal rather than a god. Might that have made a difference? Now that you mention it, very well might. She might not have believed it necessary to defer to his will. Enough talk. It's our time to put our theories to the proof. Tell Alphino to disengage the restraints and the ethereal dampeners. I'm counting on you, Angelo. Porksy is adorable. Ah, such warmth. The frost that shout routeth my soul doth begin to thaw. But what are these? Visions of days long forgotten, of war with the men of the Allig. Wherefore do such baleful memories return to me now? Could it be the process of restoring her prole to a preempted state, restoring her soul to its pre-tempered states, awakening ancient memories? Or might the opposite true? If so, by helping her recall the past, we may be able to speed her recovery. Coda, she does trust you. Speak to her. Ask her to tell you of times past. Alright, I'm probably gonna get a choice here. There we are. Tell me of your war with the men of the Alleg. Wicked, bloodthirsty creatures, not content with their own lands, they brought fire and death to Meracidia, our home. The tale begun when Bahamut and I left our father's side. We took wing in search of a place to make our eyrie. Beyond the southern ocean, we discovered a lush and fertile land. It would be known as Meracidia by the children of men, although many years were to pass before they crossed the seas. Upon our arrival, we were welcomed by the peaceful people of the forest, kin to the trees. Surrounded by nature's bounty, Bahamut and I found a place to raise our young. Fascinating. This correlates with the writings of the Charlian scholar Rusha. She posits that man first settled on the southern continent at this end of the second astral era. Correctly, it would appear. If only she were with us to hear the tale from Tiamat herself. Again, Angelo. When the first children of man arrived on our shores, no foot did they set in those places over which we held dominion. Such was the fear of dragonkind. As they kept their distance, so did we let them be. Yet as the days went by, ship after ship appeared on the horizon, bearing even more and more of their brethren who divided the land amongst themselves. For a time they knew peace and prosperity, but as their numbers grew, the smaller their share came to seem, and soon they began to covet the territory of their fellows. Ere long, man fought man, blood was answered with blood, and none could see the end of the strife, until one day they came to us. Recognizing our wisdom, they entreated us to intercede. Bahamut agreed, and with him presiding over the affairs, the land knew peace once more. Alas, those golden days of harmony too were fated to end, for the men of the Allag slew my beloved, and I, in my rage and sorrow, heeded the envenomed words of the Ascians. The rest thou knowest only too well. But your tale doesn't have to end there. When you're free, we'll rid the world of the Ascians together. You and your beloved will have your justice. Fine sentiments, but you're almost spent. I'll keep watch from above. If the treatment fails, run. Thanks for the vote of confidence. I swear when this is over. Keep going, Alistair. The magic is working. Light. So interesting. So Bahamut was light-based. Slowly but surely, the magic is working. Aided no doubt by the memories you bade her share. Well, I knew this was going to be easy. No patient could have prepared me for treating a great worm. Or close, I can feel it. And if we've got a few more drops, well, I've only got a few more drops of ether to give. With yours and Graha's, this will work. And I believe I speak for both of us when I say you may take as much as you require. Careful, I might hold you that. Okay, here we go.
No! I'm almost there!
We should have plenty more to help you, Alisaie.
This is it, Angelo!
Yes, I feel it. The Econ's grip groweth weak.
Did it work?
We won't know for certain until the shackles are removed.
Answer me this, children of man. Can my kindred be saved in like manner?
Many have been subjected to the Allagan's dark arts, their flesh irrevocably altered. For such tortured souls, I fear there can be no salvation.
That's right. If someone's been tempered by the brainwashing process too much, their very bodies will change. And that we haven't found a cure for. My children. Should you hearken unto my call, we shall fly together once more. But should you not, I shall grant you peace. Better to die than live as a tool of evil. You too would wish this, I know, and I shall do as I must.
When that time comes, you won't be alone. We'll stand by you.
Thou hast my gratitude, little one.
Alphino's ready. It's time.
Alright. Unleash the shackles.
Do it. And let's hope the treatment worked as it should.
Here we go. Bahamut, my beloved. For vengeance and for atonement, I rise.
By the gods!
Tiamat is free. Link bro.
Urianger, your timing could not be better. Understood, we're on our way.
Looks like we're about to reach the dungeon of the area.
It's Bahamut. He's been sighted over Pagalthan.
That's where those guys are.
He flies for the largest amount of settlement in the region, at the head of a vast host, including dragons.
Did you hear all that, Alphino? You'd best rejoin your comrades. I'll make my own way. Our enemy awaits. Shall we?
Shall we? Of course, it wouldn't be a Stitty unless he made the most dramatic exit possible. Well, I'm sure you're desperate to join Estinian and Tiamat in battle. It would be wise to gather the full strength of the Scions first. The foe we face demands no less. Oh wait, first let's talk to the others here. I'll be fine. Plenty time to recover on the airship. Broad bean curry, smoked chicken, a leg of chicken patiently smoked to perfection. Pineapple salad, a salad featuring chunks of golden pineapple tossed into some flavorsome frantoio with oil dressing. Ooh. I swear, the flavor text of the food in this game sounds so delicious. I might have to try making some of these on my own sometime. Broad bean curry. I'm not a fan of beans, but curry. Broad beans stewed with fragrant spices, served with a side of steamed rice. Oh, that's tank. This is DPS. The flames of war, with lunar Bahamut bound for Pagalthan Grahatia is determined to call upon the aid of your fellow Scions. I've already sent word to the others. We're to rendezvous at Uldar at the Hall of Flames. Let's collect Alphino and be on our way. Quest accepted. Definitely gonna have to use some of those in the upcoming dungeon. Well, unless my eye level's not high enough. If not, I'll just buy some crafted gear until I am. Oh, I forgot to do it again, darn it. Oh well. Now, I know some of you could do with a rest, but I'm sorry to say the Telefori have other plans. Paglethon is already under siege. Happily, the Immortal Frames arrived just in time to join the defensive effort, with Marshal Tarupin at their head. Well, now, given the failure of peace negotiations, I was certain how the Sultanate would respond. It's good to hear Ul'dah has not abandoned the Amalja. Abandoned them? Did we not profess to be their friends? Your Grace, Marshal Tarupin has made provisions for such an exigency and was ready to depart at a moment's notice. All that was required was an agreement from the Syndicate, each of whom voted in favor of the intervention. Nor is Ul'dah alone in its resolve. The other Alliance nations have dispatched troops to Paglethon. Yet even with our combined strength, they will be sorely tested, for we face not only the Imperial Legion, but Lunar Bahamut and his draconic horde besides. Tiamat's children. Fight as we may, victory is by no means assured, but not all the omens are grim. Our forces report that despite their proximity to Lunar Bahamut, none of the Amalja show signs of tempering. Strange, what primal would turn down a chance to claim new thralls? Or maybe Bahamut was, for lack of a better term, programmed to only do so if Fandaniel says so, and he hasn't in this case. Unless it is incapable of doing so. Primals are not wont to serve a master, Ascian or otherwise. It may well be that Lunar Bahamut differs in some fundamental manner from those we previously encountered. Yeah, like I mentioned before, primals we have learned are basically creations of the summoner, in other words, they can basically be thought of as programs, as doing what the creator desires. If the creator desires, they do not brainwash people. That's entirely possible. In fact, that's pretty much been a fan theory that when Hydaelyn was created to oppose Zodiark, she was specifically made unable so that she does not temper people, but instead protects them from tempering. If that were true, anyone could fight him, and Code and others like him wouldn't have to shoulder the burden alone. Be that as it may, Lunar Bahamut remains an incalculably powerful foe, of whom our soldiers would struggle to best through mere force of arms. With the aid of the Scions, however, I believe they will fare better. Assuming, that is, you are ready to take the field. An airship awaits to bear you to the front. Pray set forth as soon as you are able. Here we go, the dungeon time. Meanwhile, shall continue to coordinate our forces. Till next we meet, may the 12 bless and keep you. I wonder who that reminds me. Oh, it was kind of her to speak to us personally. You may be certain she has no shortage of other responsibilities. Well, I, for one, am inclined to do as her grace requests, lest we forget. Are involved in Fordola, are in Paglethon on reconnaissance. The sooner we save the day, the better their chances. Indeed, to the airship then. Usually the Senate only cares about money and their profits. The fact that they were unanimously in favor of saving the Amalja shows, well, to quote Kingpin from the Spider-Man cartoon, there's no profit to be made in the destruction of the world. It's bad for business. Airship landing, here we are. Alright, here we are, it's dungeon time. We're finally going to put an end to Lunar Bahamut. Greetings, we've been expecting you. Just say the word and we will depart for Paglethon at once. Hagglethon, now accessible. The duty finder's been updated. Now, what is the item level for this? Shadowbringers, Hagglethon. Item level 490. Okay, I'm at 499 right now, so I barely hit them, but it should be sufficient. And rest assured, I'm going to eat food to try and compensate the loss here. Oh dang, for a minute I was worried, was it over 30 minutes? Let's see what our party members have to say. Icons mean you can do the dungeon with the trust, the NPCs, if you wish. I know not what the Telephori have on Packothon, but I know they must be stopped for the good of Amalja and all of us. Whether he's here or not, we can be sure Fandaniel's behind this attack, and that makes me doubly determined to see that it fails. By dealing with Lunar Bahamut and his hordes, so too are involved in Fordola. Come, let's go. Like most who've spent time, I haven't seen eye to eye with Amalja, but today I will fight side by side with them in a common cause, and hope that none of them remember me. Ooh, commence. Of his own life, did Master Louisoix strike down Bahamut, and whatever the true nature of this new incarnation, it cannot be suffered to threaten this star. I agree. Alright, let's go. Here we are. Hackathon. Ascian vermin, you shall torment my children no longer. Ooh, that's the ultimate raid weapon. This Dark Knight has beaten some really tough content. Oh yeah, I'm still used to Warcraft's 1.5 second global cooldown versus this game's 2.5. And if anyone is wondering why this game has that long of a global cooldown, it's because this game has a lot more skills that are off the global cooldown, and so weaving those between the main is part of the, oh crap. Is part of the strategy for rotations, I mean. It'll take a little getting used to it again, but I guess I should single target this one. Darn it. Almost got Scorch off. Oh, that's a neat set piece right there. Alright, first boss. Crap. Raid-wide, that's a team-wide damage. I should probably get out of that. Got it. Finished him with Scorch. Excellent.
What took you so long? The Amalja are in trouble. Let's split up.
Very well, I should fly to their aid. Alright, since I'm the caster, I need to use the limit break on a group of enemies that is going to be very annoying. I need to stop clicking and just use my hotbar.
Oh, no, you don't.
Oh, no, you don't. My poor child, I shall free thee from thy pain. course, that's entirely on me. I don't like the look of those missiles. Oh, ow. Was not expecting that. Well, I have no idea what I'm doing. So basically we just kill ads to get the core. Interesting. Got it. You fight well. The brethren will hear of your brave deeds. That is actually better than my current one. I need that. Like I said, most of my gear is I-90 right now, so... Or 490. I-90, that would be crazy! I couldn't even queue for the dungeon if it was that low. Story dungeons used to not have an item level requirement, but they had an issue with people going in with crafting gear to... Since, long story short, you can get some items to upgrade your gear, or if you use it a lot, and that includes combat. Boom. Cast. I will call my children to my children. Econ waiteth in the heavens, my children. I shall bear thee to him. The materia is used to upgrade gear with certain stats. And it also applies for crafting equipment, so some people were fighting to... Some people were doing dungeons and crafting gear. Also, that person, Princess Zelda, has some pretty good cosplay, by the way. This looks like a group I'm going to want to limit break, so I'm going to do precisely that. I think that was a good use of it, but then again, I'm the caster. Use my AoE here. Oops, turtle stomp her. Yeah, for the Empire, glory be. Here he is, Lunar Bahamut. Teletherium, Lunar Bahamut. A cool move is one actual that Dragoon players can get too. Dragoon's a pretty fun class job, but I haven't really played too much of it. Oh crap, that's a bot. Let me get rid of that. Mapping the realm. I was out of that. That's Akamorn. Crap. Attack that hits multiple times and only gets stronger. Glad. Oh, come on, really? Lunar flare. Oh dear. Okay, alright, so it's shrinking over time. Giga flare. Server ticks, so I sure didn't miss you guys while playing WoW. Got it. I will. was a pretty good Zelda cosplay. Commented the healer. Is that last we've seen Bahamut? Our efforts may have helped our Fordola escape. Hopefully, Tiamat's wounds are not too severe. Those kobolds looking at themselves, the Malta will not soon forget this day. Our allies have steered well clear of the tower, and for good reason. Let me check. That's odd. Oh, right, the chat box. Here. Now we're gonna be loading for a bit. That wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was gonna be, if we're honest. Children of man, the shade of my beloved is no more, and I shall be forever in your debt. By your deeds we are set free, and free we shall remain, as long as I draw breath. Never again shall the dragons of Mericidia hearken to the lies of the Asians. This I vow. Sounds good to me. It's actually playing a bit of Dragon Song
warriors.
Heaven's Ward.
The dragons chose their friends well.
Oh, the Amalja King, or one of them, or I think.
Long have our
War Chief, yeah.
peoples waged war, but no more. Your fallen lie beside our own. By our words and deeds shall we honor their sacrifice.
We were proud to call you our allies.
The enemy of our enemy is our friend. And you have proven yourselves worthy of our trust. It is the Garleans who are deserving of our fury. I shall see that my brethren learn the truth of this day, and rally as many as possible to the cause, till we meet again.
And thus did we make allies of the Amalja.
Slowly but surely, we're reuniting
It would certainly
everyone.
seem that way. The Sultana will be pleased. Let's go and give her the good news, shall we?
I wonder if perhaps this big fight gave enough of a distraction for Arenwald and Fordola to have found out the truth behind those strange towers. After all, sometime earlier. Oh, I guess we're gonna find out, aren't we? Holy crap, they've been absorbed the organic part of the tower? Is this the inside of Majin Buu? Or Abaddon from Shin Megami Tensei 2?
What in Relga's name happened here?
The gods only know. But you can bet these poor sods aren't here by choice.
Quickly! We've got to get them free!
What have I done?
It's too late for them. We're leaving, now.
So this is what triggered... If I didn't know better, I'd say that it's gathering all their power for Lunar Ifrit next. Oh.
No. No! Don't you dare! We came together and we're leaving together.
So its defense mechanism was summoning Ifrit. I guess he hasn't spawned in yet. Right, outside the dungeon. Trippy. Oh, they have the sides marked a bit more easily now. I remember them saying they were going to do that to make positionals more important, easier to notice. See Amalja fighting alongside us brought to mind the Zune of the Crystarium. I pray that our peoples can forge bonds as strong as those of our counterparts in the First. From what I could tell, there didn't seem to be any Imperials in the vicinity of the tower. Hopefully, Arenvald will have used the opportunity to get it in and out undetected. Tiamat did all she promised and more this day, but I doubt she would be satisfied. Nay, she'll fight in defense of her children wherever they may be. It'll take more than a single victory to wash away all the bad blood between men and Malja, but one has to start somewhere. Though the day has won, thanks in no small part to thy valor, the Telefori are far from defeated. Yet be that as it may, it's only right we rejoice in Lunar Bahamut's banishment to the ether. While it'll be too much to hope we've seen the last of Fandaniel, we've dealt with his schemes a telling blow today, and that alone is cause to celebrate. And celebrate I will, when we receive wards of Arenwald's safe return. May enter an NPC avatars. Fair. Alphino is minded to share his account of the events that unfolded with the Sultana. Standing around here worrying is not going to help matters. Come, we must discuss the day's events with Pippin and her grace. Brave Scions. Would that I could treat you to a hero's welcome, but I bear urgent moves the Fronisteri. Your grace, what is the matter? As our troops withdrew, they came across the two scouts sent to the nearby tower. The two scouts in the nearby tower. I've yet to hear a full account, but it seems one of them, your friend, I believe, has been wounded and was dragged away by the other. Oh, damn. Oh, no. I must go. Forgive me, your grace. Can you tell us aught of Arenvald's condition, your grace, the wounded scout? Did she say it was Arenvald? I thought she just said one was dragged by the other. Or is it just assumed because... Nay, save that his grave. The chirurgeons tend him as we speak. The infirmary must be inundated with wounded. If all of us go, he'll only get underfoot. Kota Estunian, would you mind going after Alphino? He may need some support from someone other than me. That's probably good I'm a red mage. That gives some... very well. Thank you. The rest of us will see the relevant people know what took place in Pagathon. Come on then. being a red mage means I have healing magic, but it's not especially strong. First things first, where do I go here? I believe that is the Hustings strip. It's funny that even though Aziz Law is an area from Heavensward, it's still been relevant. But I suppose the Ascians have had their fingers in a lot of pies, and the Allegans are just one of many. Estinian. I take it Alphino is fond of Arnval. I know how he feels, but hand-rigging isn't gonna help anyone. You'd better have a word. Instead of standing there gawping, why don't you tell your friend to stop whining like an underfed dog? People are fighting for their lives out there. Please tell me something, anything. Another one came to see Lad in silver armor. Master Demio is attending to him as we speak. If you'd be so kind as to wait. What did Master Demio say? Tell me the exact words. Enough, Alphino. This isn't going to help. But you're right, forgive me. When we all sailed our farewells, I was afraid something else might happen. Now that it has, all we can do is wait. Now, if it makes you feel any better, this is a Japanese game. He's not going to die unless it's some over-the-top manner.
Fordola, have you been waiting here all this time?
We have done what we can. The rest is up to him.
May we see him?
I do not think that wise. You must let him sleep.
So much for seeing him in Endwalker. Last time someone was injured, it was Ishtola during Stormblood, and long story short, she was out for the entire expansion.
Thank you for bringing him back. He owes you his life. I just wish I had been there. Perhaps, I don't know, perhaps I could have...
Could have what? Got tempered? Don't flatter yourself. You can't save everyone. No one can. Not even the warrior of bloody light.
Hey, I'm right here. She is right.
People die all the time, for no good reason. And those who take up the sword die quicker than most.
That's another thing. The Dark Knight storyline, for Stormblood, it went into how much this has been taking it. All these actions have been taking a toll on the player character's mind.
If you're going to shed a tear every time a soldier falls on the battlefield, you'd best stay away. It's no place for the weak of heart.
It may be that victory cannot be won without cost. But all life is precious, and I refuse to shrug at its loss.
That's probably why he decided to be a healer, in particular.
All life is precious! Oh, you need to grow up, little man. Before your sparkling ideals get everyone killed.
About that. He actually did kind of almost get everyone killed at one point. Stinian. The first edgelord.
You're right. He is idealistic. But the world has more than its fair share of realists, like you and me. It's people like him who dare to dream that things could be better and make it happen against all the odds. They are the ones whose names live on forever. The heroes.
The battlefield's littered with would-be heroes. At this rate, you'll lot will be next. And what'll become of your precious dreams then?
Someone else will pick them up and continue on where we left off.
They'll be gone. Like dust on the wind.
Dreams worth fighting for don't die so easily.
Oh, another cutscene already. I know. There's nothing more I can do here. Come, let us rejoin the others. Ahem. Her Grace invites the Scions to join her in the Fragrant Chamber. Your comrades have already arrived. Will you three be joining them? We will. Stinian really has been through a lot. I think it's only been a few cutscenes, but it really does feel like he's come a long way from when we first met him in Heaven's Ward. And that's pretty notable because he wasn't really in the Stormblood storyline at all.
Your Grace, pray forgive us our lateness.
Think not of that. I understand a close comrade of yours was wounded in the line of duty. Arenvold. It was at the Alliance's behest that he risked all, and we are grieved to hear of his condition. Rest assured, he will receive the finest care our chirurgeons can provide. On that you have my word. Now, we would share with you the findings of the mission. Pippin, pray relate to our guests the details of Fordola's account.
Alright, so basically there's a bunch of these Amaldas and they've been sucked in like they're Majin Buu in Majin Buu's body, or Abaddon from Shin Megami Tensei 2.
First Bahamut, now Ifrit. Or Lunar Ifrit, as Fandaniel would doubtless have it.
'Tis now all but certain that the towers were conceived to facilitate the summoning of primals by those imprisoned within.
That's pretty clearly how they managed to get Lunar Bahamut to get created as well.
Less certain is the means by which the Telophoroi constrain the wills of said entities to enact their designs in defiance of the pleas of their victims.
That's right, usually when you perform a summon, it's supposed to be at the control of the one who created the summon. So how could a third party be in direct control?
Mayhap they do not. If mere proximity to the towers is enough to make loyal servants of the Empire's mortal enemies, it stands to reason that the same is true for those held captive. They invoke their gods for the good of Garlemald, and in their disturbed state of mind, summon a primal whose form reflects their own alteration.
Well, this explains
it all
that.
begins to make sense. Upon closer inspection, I realized that the towers bear a striking resemblance to a much larger structure which Urianger and I observed from afar during our visit to the Imperial capital. assuming it too is capable of tempering those in its immediate vicinity. It would go some way to explain the swiftness with which the Telophoroi managed to rally so many Imperials to their cause.
While the situation in Garlemald is indeed troubling, I fear we have more immediate concerns. Ifrit was not the only primal summoned. At approximately the same time, observers at several other towers bore witness to the emergence of further such entities.
Dang it, we're gonna have to deal with a boss rush.
None appear to wield aught approaching the destructive power of Bahamut, and the Grand Companies are moving to deal with the threat even as we speak.
Right, and since these primals are not, for lack of a better term, programmed to be able to brainwash others, that means regular military can take care of them, if necessary, although they are still very powerful. You need only tell me where they are, Your Grace. I'm in the mood for a boss rush.
We are aware that the task will not be easy. We would call upon the Scions only as a last resort. Pray, conserve your strength for now.
Yeah. And if you're wondering why they're treating the Scions with such special care in this particular case, it's because their job, for lack of a better term, has been to track down, ever since the very start of the storyline, even the 1.0, was to track down and destroy the primals, to kill them and prevent them from brainwashing others. And as such, since the primals are considered to have godlike powers over their respective elements, so there's clearly only so many available to take these down, because even as Nanamo here said, the soldiers can only do so much given the power of the stronger ones like Bahamut. Especially since previously, they'd have to sacrifice a wave to get brainwashed, then have another wave to take on them, and then a third to kill them.
After all, it was not so very long ago that you rid us of Bahamut. On which note, I am pleased to report that our talks with the Amalja have reached an agreeable conclusion. They have pledged their full support to our cause. It is our hope that this historic agreement will encourage other tribes to join us at the negotiating table. And I know that I speak for all of the Allied leaders when I say that we will welcome them with open arms at such time as they do.
Nothing like
This was only made
threat to get
possible
everyone
by
to come
the
together.
feats of heroism performed at Paglthan. Moreover, we shall not allow the sacrifices of those fallen in battle to have been made in vain. As hope leads to victory, shall victory lead to a new dawn for Eorzea.
May these words ever be our guide, Your Grace.
Now, if you will forgive me, I must consult with the Syndicate on the matter of our new allies' integration. Till next we meet, my friends, I bid you safe travels and blessed respite.
Amidst this great rush for peace with the beast tribes, we would do well to remember that old prejudices yet remain. It is a delicate political dance, and I do not envy the Sultana in her task, nor any alliance leader. Yeah, and as we found out at the end of Realm Reborn and the start of Hensford, our player character is not very good when it comes to politics. He's just good at punching things a bit harder than anyone else. If there's no reason to linger, I'll take my leave. Alphino knows only too well that sacrifices are an unavoidable part of conflict, but knowing something does not change how one feels about it. You yourself have shared adventures that are involved, have you not? Then I'll say no more. With secrets of the towers thus laid bare, our duty to prevent further abductions now taketh new import. Fail in this, our enemy shall punish our negligence with a plague. Negligence with a plague of primals. Plague of primal. Urianger, you did that specifically for the alliteration, didn't you? Even without the threat of tempering to contend with, the Grand Companies have quite a task on their hands. Regardless of our to the contrary, it may be best to dispatch a few of them of our own to assist endeavor. Remind me to mention it to Taru, will you? Though we've won our first battle against the Telefori, we must made significant discoveries as well. The war has only just begun. We must steel ourselves while it lies ahead. Right then, unless anyone has objections, I think it's time we return to the Rising Stones. Already? I guess 5.55 is going to be when we figure out the rest of this. And that includes you, Alphino. Arenvald is in good hands here. Of course, he doubtless would mock me for pacing about the infirmary. Let us retire then, but we might regain our strength and readiness for the coming challenges. If all are in agreement, then I shall let Kryl know to expect us. A hot bath and hearty meal shouldn't be beyond arranging with the time available. It'll be good to be home. I have some thinking to do. Yes, I'll try asking him. And thank you, I shall look forward to it. Our comrades eagerly await our return, and Kryl in particular has a matter she is keen to discuss, of which concerns you, Estinian. I believe it or not. You will join us, won't you? Fine. Really? I thought you were here. And I thought you said you were avoiding that Baldessian woman. If I refused, she would only pursue me. That's right. Taru is always watching, stalking behind the shadows. Let's get this over with, shall we? Pray return to the Rising Stones. I guess this is where the cliffhanger for the 5.55 storyline is going to be. Well, I will say for now that next time I'm going to be getting the Diamond Weapon storyline and finishing off the Nier Automata raid. I've liked it so far, but I will say it kind of has the similar problem to Ivalis' raid in that, well, if we're blunt, it feels like it's bringing up a lot of questions, but it's not really answering much of anything until the third final one, at which point it'll probably get good. But I will Oh yeah, I forgot you can fly in the Realm of Born areas. It's kind of funny, actually. Yeah, Mordona is one of those areas that launch with Realm Born, and you actually couldn't fly in here for, well, even when it was introduced in Heaven's Ward. Oh, and people were asking for it, but the devs kept saying, "Oh no, that would require completely recoding, and we'd have to alternate the skybox to account for that. It'd be a lot of work." But then during Stormblood, we did okay. You know how that was a lot. We said that would be a lot of work. Well, we did it anyway, so now you can fly there. That's pretty cool, I thought. If they didn't have to, we'd have understood it, but they did it anyway. Put the effort forward anyway. Oh my, cutscene time. I would have thought it would have been several cutscenes in sequence, but I guess that's going to be 5.5.
I expect you must all be exhausted. Ere you take your rest, however, I would beg a moment of your time. Thanks to Arenvold's selfless efforts, we may now be confident that we understand the function of the towers. But many questions remain regarding the reason for the summonings, and what lurks behind the looming edifice in Garlemald.
I suppose that is a good point. I figured it might just be done because, well, the summonings are really powerful, but at the same time, the main reason they were a big threat before is because of their brainwashing power. Why would they remove that ability? Why would the towers themselves be designed to do the brainwashing and not the primals, the lunar primals? Especially if their only purpose is to just be particularly powerful weapons.
Until such questions are answered, we will struggle to devise an effective strategy for thwarting the Telophoroi's stated aim. Nothing less than the destruction of this star. And so, given the gravity of the situation, I move that we petition the aid of Sharlayan.
That is actually a very large deal. Sharlayan is basically a very isolationist society that is of scholars that basically insist they're only allowed to watch history, never participate. It's why Louisoix and the twins helping us is such a big deal. By doing so, they can basically never return because they've turned their back on the whole thing, yeah.
'Tis possible the ancient knowledge preserved within our archives may hide a clue to our enemy's methods. But given Sharlayan's established policy of non-intervention, our former colleagues are not like to aid us in its discovery.
Oh, I well remember what they're like. The Forum's barefaced refusal to assist you in the days prior to the calamity must rank as Sharlayan's most shameful act since the Exodus. But were the final days to be reenacted, it would spell doom for us all. Surely even they cannot turn a blind eye to that.
Yeah, we still have a lot of questions. What caused the final days to begin with? Emmett told us that the destruction of the Ancients' world was what forced them to create Zodiark to rewrite reality and and the laws of existence themselves. It was just that big a deal, but... And of course, the source is only a shard, a fraction as powerful as the world that was enacted by the final days.
I trust we are all of the same mind on this matter. Urgent as it seemed, I took the liberty of petitioning the Alliance for leave to act as Eorzea's emissary, and have since received their blessing.
I presume your role as a student of Baldessian will carry some weight with the Forum?
One can but hope. If truth be told, our organization has been a shadow of its former self ever since the disappearance of the Isle of Val. But the name does still retain some degree of prestige. I only pray it will be enough.
Well, maybe it might help. I mean, you're one of the final remaining students of Baldessian. Since most of them were lost in the Eureka incident, yeah, that being one of the last remaining of famous scholars could help her out, maybe.
If there are no objections, I shall depart for Sharlayan at once. But before I do, I should also mention the other matter to which I would devote some time during my stay. After hearing what transpired in the first, I began to question the true nature of Hydaelyn's blessing. A topic I have discussed at some length with Y'shtola.
It's going to be tied to that fan theory. Give it a moment.
We were wondering, when was the last time Hydaelyn spoke to you directly?
Near the end of the Dragon Song War. If I remember right.
When you regained her blessing, was it not? But never since. Not in all your time in the First, when you faced the Unsundered, the very heart of Zodiark.
History shows us that Hydaelyn is able to awaken the echo in her chosen, convey her will directly, and grant the blessing of light.
Is she getting at what I think she is?
To our knowledge, however, she has not sought to intervene in man's affairs for some considerable time.
Might not the explanation for that lie with her choice of champion? Mayhap she is content to trust in his judgment.
Mayhap she is. But following my initial discussion with Kryl, I made inquiries of my own. And as far as I am able to tell, Hydaelyn has not made her will known to anyone.
She gave up almost all of her power to protect us from the Ultima weapon, if I remember right. That was the only time she has directly interfered. That's also kind of interesting. Why would she protect one specific champion now that we know that she awakens whoever can remember the end, whoever gets sparks a memory of the end of days? And okay, I guess I should explain that fan theory now that we have a moment. The fan theory is that the Blessing of Light is itself a tempering, a brainwashing. And it simply blocks out the others. It's a bit of a shaky fan theory because we have no confirmation that that having one tempering cannot have additional tempering on top from different primals, but at the same time they haven't really had a chance to interact before, so we don't know exactly.
During my time in the First, the Oracle of Light spoke to me through Reen. But that was not the will of Hydaelyn. It was Minfilia herself.
Yeah, Minfilia was basically an Ascian before she sacrificed herself to allow Reen to unlock her true power.
Indeed. And while she and Hydaelyn were inextricably linked, Minfilia yet acted of her own volition. A messenger, yes, but one who spoke with her own voice.
To an extent, yeah, but then again, she did say her person.
Could Hydaelyn's silence suggest the presence of some disruptive force, perhaps? Some obstacle to communication? While I share Urianger's high opinion of your conduct, I see no reason why she would deny you her guidance altogether. Then again, who am I to say? The fact is, we simply don't know. But if the explanation is to be found anywhere, I can think of worse places to look than the archives of Sharlayan, and their research on the Ethereal Sea in particular.
It's entirely possible. Did Hydaelyn already die? We know that she was created specifically to counteract Zodiark, so it's entirely possible she, like the primals here, she was programmed to not be able to brainwash, and that's why her Blessing of Light is simply to repel other brainwashing effects. But that is correct. We defeated all unsundered Ascians, including one that helped create Zodiark and the heart of Zodiark himself. And yet she hasn't made a comment anywhere. And if her Blessing of Light really is a brainwashing, why wouldn't she be against us going against the Light's dominant? Wouldn't she have said something about us going against the Light's dominance, for example? After all, she's the Goddess of Light. Was created to be the Goddess of Light, rather. There's been a lot of speculation about what would be necessary. Like, we may need to stop her when Zodiark is gone because both of them need to be defeated together. But it's entirely possible she might already be dead. If so, that's actually rather horrifying, because that would mean no, that can't be the case, because she was still granting people the Blessing of Light when Elidibus was creating more Warriors of Light. Ones of his own, because he wanted to he felt the only thing that could stop us was another Warrior of Light, the very concept of a Warrior of Light.
Resolved though I am to go, believe me when I say that I take no pleasure in the thought of leaving you a member short. Now, of all times. Estinian, we stand on the eve of a struggle that will decide the fate of this star. One in which we Scions may play a telling part, yet we are but few in number. And so I must ask you again. Will you join us?
He's pretty much been an unofficial member for so long, might as well make it official, right?
You see the world the way you want it to be. I see the world the way it is. You are idealistic to a fault. But I know you would never turn your back on those in need. Never close your eyes to their suffering. And somehow, your deeds lend truth to your words, giving the lie to my doubts in so doing. I have seen others draw strength from your belief. In Ishgard, in Alamigo, you inspired them to stand up and fight. To win, no less. And even when you lost those you held dear, you carried their spirit with you and made their memory your guiding light. The burden of so many hopes and dreams would be too heavy for most to bear. But you bear it willingly, as you have shown me. Some dreams are too important to let go. If you have need of my strength, it's yours. After all you've done, how could I refuse?
Thank you, Estinian. Whatever challenges await us, I shall not falter. You have my word.
And now, I may bid you farewell. Safe in the knowledge that all is as it should be. In this little corner of the world, at least.
You will be sorely missed. Tread warily in Sharlayan, and do try not to let the Forum embroil you in their politics. A forlorn hope, I know, given the individuals involved.
I shall do my very best. Farewell.
Now we just need to find... Maybe we can find the truth if we can find the heart of Hydaelyn? But... Meanwhile, in the Imperial Palace... Dang it, I maxed out every job and I can't figure out which one I want to do the content with.
Well... Does this one meet with your approval? Apparently not. Or... could it be that you're still upset about the dragons?
You are unwise to remind me of so costly a failure. It will not affect our plans, I trust.
Oh, hardly at all. Though, admittedly, the chances of us being able to procure any more Mericidian dragons are rather slimmer following Tiamat's reappearance.
That's right, she's been either calling them back to her or killing them. And since we have the cure for tempering...
But the seeds have been sown, my lord! We have only to wait for them to quicken! Speaking of preparations, is it safe to assume that you will be ready to control you-know-what?
The hour draws nigh. This nation, forged for Ascian ends, will finally prove its worth.
A mighty empire, now no more than an instrument of this star's destruction. What a pleasure it will be to put it to use.
Is he building that one robot that Shinra had near the end of Final Fantasy VII? Because if so, that one wasn't very impressive.
Which brings me back to our earlier topic. My lord, while I appreciate that it is not an easy decision, it really is past time you chose your weapon.
There is one that I have been meaning to test.
Well, well, not quite what I was expecting, though I will say, it does seem rather apt.
Is it the... Interesting, is it going to be the other Endwalker job that they've been teasing for a while now? I think we'll learn about it in around May or June. The sudden appearance of the towers will surely not escape the Forum's notice. I would like to think they would be receptive to Krau's request for cooperation in investigating the matter, but unfortunately their reputation would suggest otherwise. It strikes me as odd, rather than marching on one of the city-states, the Tefori have so far only made sporadic attacks. I doubt they'd go to the trouble of putting up all those towers if that was all they had in store for us. Though we know not the full extent of the Tefori's schemes, preventing further abductions must take precedence over all else, for there lieth the key to depriving our enemy of its most potent weapon. If you've need of my lance, I'll be ready. If not, I'll be reserving my strength in preparation for the next battle. But since you're here, I have a question. The Scions are in close contact with the Eastern Al-Adnar Trading Company of Kugane, yes? I was wondering if they could place an order for sun-dried squid. I don't seem to be able to find any in this parts. If I'm to pursue this course, I must be prepared for the hardships that lie ahead. No one can deny that Heidelin's blessing has been a great boon to our cause, but much remains about our true intentions. Given everything we learned from our past encounters, we must keep our minds open to anything. While true, I think Heidelin was evil all along is not in the cards at this point, at the very least. We know that Zodiark was created to restore life, and he... yeah, Zodiark and Heidelin are both gods created to very much represent the groups that created them. Zodiark was created because darkness represents change, and he was able to create and he was able to rewrite the laws of reality and existence itself. However, he had to sacrifice the lives of many ancients in order to do so, because that kind of energy just takes so much power. I guess rewriting reality takes Hummer-level energy efficiency. And Heidelin was created in order to counter him, since light is the element of stasis order, and thus it was their big fight that caused the world to split into 14 shards to begin with. And Zodiark wants to bring them back together, since his job was to restore the world of the ancients, and the Ascians agree in this goal. Meanwhile, Heidelin was made to be his restraints to keep him from doing that. After all, just because the world was one before doesn't mean it should be now. But I suppose we've never even met the heart of Heidelin, even though we've known Elidibus since the patch cycle storyline of Realm Reborn. Well, it looks I'm gonna be busy going to have a busy few moons. Not that they ever turn out to seem to be anything but. Thancred got me dispatching troops to every corner of the realm, which is not to say I don't trust the Alliance, because I do, but when it comes to putting down primals, no one does it better than us. Well, then you lot, more accurately. You won't catch me trading blows with the primal in the near future. But for every fell fiend you vanquish, there's countless meals to arrange, baths to fill, sheets to wash, stores replenish, and list goes on. Yeah, Tataru is a secretary and general paperwork manager. And that's where I come in. And gladly, mind you. It's the least I can do to support the Scions who risk life and limb, like poor Arenvald. I wish there was something we could do for him, but we'll just have to settle for saying the odd prayer and keeping a roof over our heads. It wouldn't do for him to come back and to us in complete shambles. Come back to a complete shambles, now would it? That's enough of my rambling. Off you go and get some rest. If anything comes up, you'll be the first to know. Not for naught. See how I'm going, about almost 3 hours. Not bad, but we still have a lot of questions. During Shadowbringers, they said they'd finally reveal a few of the mysteries, including the main reason why. Remember how earlier I said that when the Garleans were attacking the area near the... Actually, I could probably go here since we're in the area. Alright. Yeah. Basically, the lake in Mordone here. When the Garleans were attacking it during the war prior to the... I think it's even before the 1.0 storyline now that I think about it. Or was it during Rome? Can I remember? But yeah, basically they were fighting near this lake, and that thing coiling around there is Midgard Sormir's corpse. Apparently, when that flagship for the Garleans was causing damage, whatever he's protecting this lake from, considered it worthwhile to sacrifice himself. And like I said, sacrificing himself isn't as big a deal since he's so powerful that death only sends him into a slumber for however many hundreds of years or whatever, right before he regains his power again. But that's still a hefty cost. Keeper of the Lake is the dungeon where you climb atop the wreckage and meet Midgard Sormir for the first time. There's the Crystal Tower before it gets teleported to the first. Well, it probably won't be in this timeline. But dang. I have the feeling we're going to be finding out the truth behind this lake in the 5.55 storyline. Because whatever it was part of... Protecting it was part of Midgard Sormir's deal with Hydaelyn in order for him to take up residence on this star. In this planet. From whatever one he left from. And more importantly, that it was such a big deal. All that he considers it worthwhile to sacrifice himself and have to sleep for whatever length of time in order to prevent its damage. The next 5.55 storyline doesn't include a dungeon, so it's going to be pure story next time that they have a patch. And dang, am I looking forward to it. Alright. Tomorrow I'm going to have to meet with those guys, and we'll see if I'm going to stream it or if we just do some stuff off stream. But after that, I'm going to be coming back to this game, and we'll be tackling some of the newer stuff. More specifically, we'll be tackling the Nier Automata raid and the final of the primal of the trial fights. The Diamond Weapon. And remember, in Diamond Weapon left an impact even in Final Fantasy VII, where it was the only one you had to defeat for the story. Shinra did ultimately manage to kill it, but not without great cost. I wonder if the remake is going to keep that scene, because I genuinely thought it was one of the more memorable ones in the entire game, and believe me, that game had a lot of memorable scenes. Well, I'll worry about that when the whole thing is out. Like my policy to avoid early access games, I'm going to just avoid bothering... I'm just going to avoid bothering with the remake until it's all out. So we'll see how I feel around that time. Alright, but for now, thank you for watching. Hope you had a good time. And I keep my VODs for as long as Twitch allows, so if you ever need them, they'll be there. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.